Miss Gilligan, I've read your complaint. The story that you tell is relatively simple. The amount of money that you're requesting based upon your complaint is not so simple. So I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
It seems to me from your complaint that you were living with the defendant's sister.
Yes.
And at some point, the defendant got tossed out of his house.
He was kicked out of his parents' house, so he came to live with his sister and myself.
And so you took him in.
Took him in, yeah, and then he had been to jail, and when he came out of jail, he came to move back in with us, disobeyed some of the rules we set out, so we kicked him out.
How old was he at the time?
17.
So you kicked him out.
Yeah.
No, that didn't happen. I actually moved out.
You moved out because we made you move out.
No. I didn't come home for about a week, and I was 18, actually. When I got out of juvenile hall, this has nothing to do with what happened before. My parents didn't kick me out. I went to juvenile hall. I actually went to live with my sister on Easter of '94, I believe. And I was in there for 3 months. I got in trouble. Prior to that 3 months, I went to juvenile hall, did whatever, got out, moved back in there. When I got out, I was 18 at the time. I was doing my own thing, going to school, working, and I wasn't coming home a lot, which I understand. I went out, they called me, they were having a hard time with it. And
they were having a hard time with your hours.
My sister,
Well, because he wasn't working, so.
Well, I was working.
Whatever.
I was working at a water park at the time and going to school.
And got fired.
In any event, they didn't want you coming and going at all hours.
Right.
They wanted some order in their house.
Yeah, so I
Well,
couldn't.
that's reasonable.
He was taking
Yeah.
advantage of the situation, so we kicked him out.
Fine.
No.
Now let's talk about this money that you say he owes you.
Okay.
Your complaint talks in terms of a $500 bike.
That's what I
motorbike.
sold the bike for. The bike is actually worth a lot. What had happened is he finally had got a job, and I was real proud
While
of
he
him.
was living with you.
No, he was out on his own at this point because
Okay.
we didn't let him come back in.
Okay.
So he got a job. I was totally proud of him because he hadn't had a job this whole time. Got a job. I didn't want to sell the bike, but I thought he was taking the bus. I thought, okay, maybe he's finally getting his act together. Okay, so sold the bike. It's actually worth near between $1,600 and $2,200. I sold it to him for $500, and I made a payment plan for him. $500, gave me $100 to start off. Never saw him after that. Never paid me a penny. Then he crashes it.
I paid $200 after. I paid a total of $300 on the bike. I had an
I
accident.
keep records of everything.
But
I'm
you
very
lie
meticulous.
about various things too.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm the one who went to jail, right?
Okay.
That's right.
Listen. You say he gave you $100 on the bike.
Right.
So he still owes you $400 for the bike.
Well, what happened is he crashed it. So because I sold it to him for less than it's worth, he did almost $1,500 for the damage to the bike. I want the bike back. So I want to take the money that he, for the damages and get the thing fixed. I want the bike. I never wanted to give it to him, but I did to help him out. But as soon as he started screwing me, I thought, no, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Well, where is this bike now?
The bike is right,
In her possession.
yeah, but it's thrashed. You can't even drive it.
We made a verbal agreement. If I give the bike back to her, I don't have to do anything with it anymore. Case closed. Never brought up until 6 months later.
Okay, so I'm just gonna let
until
you
6 months later.
You also
she said
totaled her
She
truck,
said she wanted to give
Michael.
it to her sister,
Listen.
which is true.
Who are
Okay,
you?
Blackie.
I live
Black
with
guy.
her, and I saw this whole thing happen. Not only did he total her motorcycle, but he totaled her car.
Just a second. Is there any reason why she can't tell me the story?
Well, she's obviously not, so why didn't you do it, Pam?
Listen, you have the bike back now.
Yeah,
Did
but
you
it's
get any-
unrideable.
Did you get any money for the bike from insurance or as a result
No,
of this?
I didn't even have insurance. I was driving it to and from work. I was starting the first day. I work at the Ritz-Carlton now. My first day on the job, I was going. It's up in the mountain. I had an accident. I
It was on
punctured
the
my
road.
foot.
It wasn't in the
I
mountain.
punctured
Listen.
my foot. I punctured my foot. I have proof if I have to.
Whatever.
I got a burn.
Why didn't you have insurance on this bike?
Well, I didn't have it very long.
How long did you have it?
About a month and a half, 2 months before I was going down the hill, and they call it Dead Man's Curve, where a lot of motorcycle accidents happen. Had an accident.
Ritz-Carlton
I was trying.
parking
I was
lot.
trying. No, it wasn't the Ritz-Carlton
Hello?
parking
Miss
lot.
Gilligan,
I
you're being disrespectful.
I tried to save
I don't
up
think
money.
that should be your style.
Okay.